Sandbox MMA fans, we're doing a general update today. There's a lot going on in MMA and the UFC. We're going to start with Colby Covington very clearly ducking Ian Garry. We're going to go through his interview on Submission Radio and just listen to how pathetic he sounds. I can't believe I'm about to defend Ian Garry here. This is absolutely amazing to me. But Colby Covington is clearly ducking. He has privilege. At this point, I want him out of the UFC, but let me know what you think after we get through that video and we break it down a little bit. Few other things. Strickland came up with a message about Paolo Costa that you're really going to want to hear, so make sure you continue to tune in for that. Possibly no signed contract yet. We'll get there in a second. Dana White also mentions getting out of the Apex, wanting to do more crowded fight nights, which I think is great. No more Apex cards, or even once a month, like I'm cool with, but the Apex to me is just giving them opportunity to make shitty fights. And, not need to sell it in arena, but we're going to break into that. I also want to talk about the potential main event for the UFC Sphere was released. Also, Michel Pereira was signed a bout and is already turning around to fight again. We're going to go through that in just a moment. So, without further ado, we're getting right into the pathetic Colby Covington interview. So this is at 3:40. First of all, the title of this is Colby Covington. I would like to fight Belal Muhammad or Charles Oliveira. The Ian Garry ship has sailed. How has the ship sailed? You can sign the fight, you can be on the McGregor fight, and it would be an incredibly highly anticipated fight. Two guys talking shit the whole time. The fact that Ian Garry wants to take this fight knowing what Colby's going to do at the press conference is amazing to me. And kudos to Ian Garry. I can't believe I'm really defending him here, but this is absolutely disgusting from Colby Covington, clearly ducking, and you're going to hear it in the video right now.
As well for that Ian Garry fight. You had some stipulations that he had to meet. Otherwise, that wasn't going to happen. Break it down for us. What exactly?
So Colby essentially gave him 3 stipulations that he's going to talk briefly about. Now, these stipulations, some of them are easy, but it's really like, I don't know who Colby thinks he is, calling the shots. He used to do crazy numbers. You can see here he only did 23,000 views on Submission Radio here. A couple of years ago, before he started being such a loser piece of shit, was doing, over 50,000 in a day. Getting into the, 100,000s. It's amazing how much this guy has fallen off, and it's truly, it makes sense because the guy is really just a fucking loser and a duck. So he had 3 stipulations. Colby thinks he's calling the shots. They're kind of funny, but to actually not take the fight because Ian's not doing these stipulations that are complete bullshit and you have no business asking for, we want to see it as fans, sure, but if he says no and you don't sign the fight because of that, that's just a lame excuse because you're ducking the guy. We're going to get into it right now.
Exactly ended up happening? Did he meet any of your criteria? What exactly ended up happening with that?
Yeah, so, I gave him some simple stipulations, guys. You guys know better than anybody, having followed my career, what I've had to go through to get to this point in my career.
Immediately deflects, doesn't address what the stipulations are, doesn't say that, I'm not taking the Garry fight because he's not doing the stipulations, immediately goes the victim here and saying that he had to overcome so much. He has no idea what we've done in his career. All we've seen recently is you get gifted title fights for no fucking reason and easy fights. So at the end of the day, Colby, we don't want to hear it. You're the most privileged guy in the UFC other than Israel Adesanya. This is fucking ridiculous.
I literally went to Brazil and I had people that wanted to take my head off with a fork and take my head off with some assault rifles outside the arena because those Brazilian fans were so pissed at what I did to them and the things that I had to do to get to this point. So
you mean the things that you had to say, which were completely rude, partially accurate, but were completely rude and what, dude, a fucking crowd hated you, so you had to overcome a ton of adversity. They wanted to kill you. Dude, you got escorted out by the UFC with a ton of security, the safest way you possibly could. No one in Brazil was doing that, dude. Like, yes, they wanted to take your head off. Yes, you got a couple of death threats. Fighters get that shit all the time. That's how some fan bases are in other countries. It is what it is, dude. Like, suck it the fuck up. Nothing was ever gonna happen. Stop acting like you're this crazy martyr that, like, oh, all the stuff that I had to go through. I had to go fight in another country and I made fun of their people. Stop being a fucking bitch, dude. You're a fighter.
I've literally risked my life for this company. I've literally
risked your life. Connor did 10 times worse. Chael did 10 times worse. They didn't bitch about it at all. So stop acting like this tough guy.
Went over to Brazil, fought one of the greatest Brazilian fighters of all time in Damian.
One of the greatest Brazilian fighters of all time. He's going to say Damian Maia, who was a tailor-made matchup for Colby to beat, a submission guy that has absolutely no hands when Colby is just going to ragdoll the whole time. Good job. It's not like Alex Pereira's up there. It's not like Charles Oliveira's up there. It's not like all these other guys that have come through the UFC are up there, right? Screw off, Colby.
He's got some of the most finishes in UFC history, completely obliterate him, leave him in a pool of blood, and then, do what I do in the post-fight, like for this business to sell, to sell paper.
You know what the business did back for you? They've given you multiple unwarranted title fights. So how about that? You fought Leon after beating Masvidal and sitting out for like 3 years. You also get the Usman after beating Woodley, where Woodley gets hurt. Now I get you were beating him in that fight, but Woodley even lost to Luque after that. So you get another fight with Usman because the first fight was fun. Second fight, I get it. You go to an insanely close decision against Usman, but you're getting gifted title fight after title fight when you don't fucking deserve it. And you won't defend your fucking ranking, which we're going to get to in a moment.
To sell tickets to the fight. So, I've had to do so much. All I gave is 3 little stipulations, boy, to Ian. Can you imagine? This kid's a spoiled little fucking entitled brat, and he's trying to...
Ian's a spoiled entitled brat. First of all, yes, he is. Colby, you are the spoiled entitled brat. Scum of the earth. Taking shots at Leon that are dirty and then not showing up for the fight, taking shots at everybody, acting like you're this dude that everyone likes. Dude, nobody fucking likes you anymore. The shtick was funny for a little bit. It's not fucking funny anymore. It's pathetic. You're not showing up for fights. You're not even winning them anymore. Dude, it is really fucking pathetic how you look right now.
Act like he calls a shot as an absolute nobody who's never headlined a pay-per-view main event like myself. I've actually headlined pay-per-view main events without even a title on the line. So I've done it 4
titles. Goes on to say that
he's
defended the pay-per-view main events without titles on the line, which is true. He's headlined a bunch, but he's getting gifted these opportunities. Some of them were deserved. Some of them he just got for no fucking reason because Colby sells pay-per-views. But at the end of the day, as you can see here, Colby's not selling anymore, dude. He's not doing these crazy views. He's the entitled, spoiled brat now.
So the thing is when the UFC calls Colby Chaos Covington, Colby Covington Incorporated, Colby, is able to choose and do what he wants because I've earned my way in this company and I've done good business for this company where I'm allowed to call the shots. So.
And you're also like 36. It's time to pass the torch on or to prove that you still belong here. You've done nothing impressive as of lately. Your last impressive performance against Usman, stop this shit, dude. This is a terrible, annoying shtick. It's annoying, dude. I'm just repeating myself out of frustration.
This little kid doesn't call the shots. So I gave him 3 little stipulations. That's all he had to do. Guys, could you imagine? All I told him was turn on the comments. How?
Which, yes, we'd like to do, but we all know why, Cacciato doesn't want to turn his comments on. We'll all fucking destroy the comment section, myself included, so.
How hard is it to flick a little button up or down? That's not that hard. It's so.
How hard is it to sign a contract when you need to fucking fight somebody?
So easy. And then to have his wife, shoot a video, why they deserve this fight. And how hard can that be? She's out here.
He's saying shoot a video about why he deserves the fight because Ian Garry's wife calls all the shots for him, which again, we totally agree on, but he wants her to shoot a video proving his point, humiliating her and Ian, which again is fucking hilarious. But she's not going to do it. You built in these excuses on why you're not going to take a potentially dangerous fight for yourself. Pussy. We're going to skip because he's just going to keep absolutely coping to not much farther. 6:57 where he gets asked more questions.
I'm looking at it and I'm wondering, do you think there's ever a situation where Ian sort of works his way up and he's, maybe like a title contender or champion or whatever the case may be, and he's worked his way up to a position where you're like, all right, now that's a fight that, I would like to do regardless of any stipulations? Or do you think
there's a way that Ian works his way up the rankings and you'll accept the fight after that? You are the fight that works him up the rankings. Are you forgetting that? That happens, right? People need to defend their ranking spot in which you haven't defended. You fought for a title against Leon, which was undeserved. You beat journeyman Masvidal. Ooh. You fought for the title twice against Usman, and you've also fought a higher-ranked Tyron Woodley. Dude, you're getting all these shots up the rankings. It's time for people to take a shot up. You don't want to take a shot at Ian Garry? Why don't you take a shot with Shavkat Rakhmonov? See how that one goes, you fucking idiot.
think this is a matter of the ship has sailed and we're just never going to see you and Ian fight?
The thing is, I gave him that great freaking deal early on, guys. Just 3 simple stipulations.
A great deal with 3 stipulations, at least 1 or 2 of which you knew he would never do because you wanted to cop out of the fight. I don't see Colby anymore, dude. I don't care to watch him fight. Fucking retire, you lame piece of garbage.
So I gave him this great deal. The next time it comes back around, that deal's not going to be so sweet. He's going to have to learn the basic principle of life. You got to learn things the hard way. So, I don't know. I don't know if that shit will come back around, I've said what I needed to say about him. I've said the truth and nothing but the truth and only facts about him and his relationship and his little circus gimmick that he's got going on. So, maybe he does.
Circus gimmick? Bro, this whole gimmick that you have is because you have the most boring fight style in the UFC. It's effective, you win fights, but the only reason you have the gimmick is because you were going to get cut because of how not impressive you were in your performances.
I don't know, but he hasn't done it yet. He's coming off a split decision against the busboy. The kid's serving blooming onions over out.
Jeff Neal beats the fuck out of you, Colby. He's got the best takedown defense in the division. He beats the fuck out of you.
Outback Steakhouse. He's not even a full-time fighter. You're coming off a split decision over that guy, and you're trying to act like you call the shots, and I'll do as I'm told. No, kid, you'll do as you're told. You'll do as you're told, and you'll go sit there in the corner because you're Conor McGregor.
Look at that dumb little smile, dude. It's not funny. Oh my God, I hate this dude so much, man. We're going to go to 8:33, just a couple seconds ahead, where he gets asked another question, and this is the last we're going to listen to because it's getting super pathetic.
No, I didn't see that. No one. The thing is no one cares about the kid. He's irrelevant. He doesn't have any high-profile wins, guys.
No one cares about you. No one thinks you're relevant anymore. It's over. What did you say 2 seconds ago? Let's go back into it.
The stuff that he sort of said.
No, I didn't see that. No one. The thing is no one cares about the kid. He's irrelevant. He doesn't have any high-profile wins, guys.
No high-profile wins. Interesting. Let's go to his actual Tapology page here, where he loses. So this is a high-profile fight. That is a loss against Leon Edwards. A high-profile win against a career journeyman that's 35-15, now 35-16, and Jorge Masvidal. That everyone knew this was how the fight was going to go. So high-profile win, sure, but it's not against a highly touted opponent. High-profile loss to Usman. High-profile win to Woodley, kind of, where Woodley ends up getting hurt. High-profile loss. But how did he get there? He beat Robbie Lawler. High-profile win. Dude's retired now. Back in 2019. Rafael Dos Anjos, a dude that's been fighting at lightweight for half of his career, majority of his career. High-profile win in 2018. Damian Maia, a high-profile win, who's someone who doesn't last in today's MMA world, in 2017. You beat him. Dong Hyun Kim? Really? Brian Barberena? Really? Max Griffin? Really? These are the high-profile wins that you have before you get to a title fight. Not active in the UFC. Active, but come on, man. Older, out of his prime. Not active in the UFC. Not active in the UFC. Just announced retirement. Active and, again, not looking good with his record now. So at the end of the day, man, we're just listening to Colby Covington make these bullshit excuses on why he shouldn't fight Ian Garry. I can't believe I'm defending Ian Garry right now.
It's he does nothing for my career. Why would I fight a guy like this? I go out there and beat this guy. Everybody's just going to be like, oh, he's a freaking nobody.
That's the fucking sport, dude. Us fans are fucking ruthless no matter what happens. You take his zero away. Maybe that's one of the reasons why. Or you end your ranking because someone needs to go up and try and fight you in the rankings. You don't get to just sit on a spot and only fight up yourself. That's why, because that's how the sport fucking works, you dweeb.
There's local jobbers on the independent circuit that are undefeated. So, big deal. You took his O. He hasn't beat anybody. He's a nobody. So it's just the fight does nothing for my career. I can fight anybody. I'm going to get a big paycheck either way, guys. So it doesn't matter if I fight this schmuck or some other schmuck, but
you're the schmuck.
Either way, I preferably like to go forward. I want to be back in the title picture. I feel like I'm the best welterweight on earth right now. I don't think there's a man that can stop me. So whatever it takes to get back to.
Leon stopped you. Usman stopped you. What's your record in the last couple fights? 2-5. Sorry, 2-3 in your last 5 fights, bro. Shut your bitch mouth. No one wants to hear it anymore. I'm done with Colby Covington. We're not spending any more time on this topic. This is pathetic. He is literally just ducking. Now we're going to get to a topic that is also going to frustrate me a little bit. It's Sean Strickland mentioning that Paolo Costa may pull out of this fight because the contract isn't signed yet. Let's hear what Strickland's got to say. And I know he's not always the most reliable source, but I mean, he's going to be the one that has this information. Can we hear it?
And I'll tell you what, man, I didn't fucking believe it. I did not think you'd be...
Go back into it.
Well, goddamn, Costa. I've heard you've yet to sign that contract. And I'll tell you what, man, I didn't fucking believe it. I did not think you'd be acting like a coward. I thought you would man up, sack up, but instead you're acting like you got fucking ovaries. So I went on the Googler. I did the right things, give you the benefit of the doubt. I went on the Googler, and I noticed something, man.
Dude, this dude's fucking hilarious.
And after you fought Izzy, you went downhill. You went off that fucking deep end, my man. I don't know what happened to that little fucking pea brain you have. Well, do we need to get someone for you to talk to, my man? Do we need to sit you down, have you talk about your fucking feelings? I think therapy's for weak men. But let me tell you something, dude. You're being a weak fucking man. If you can't sack up and make this shit happen, we'll get someone for you to talk to.
Costa, the king of ruining events, hasn't signed the contract yet, allegedly. This is actually very alarming to see because they are in a five-round co-main event on that card with Islam Makhachev and Dustin Poirier. Dude, if that fight falls apart, the card is fucking ruined. I mean, you got Kevin Holland, who just saved it because Dolidze and Hernandez couldn't fight because Hernandez got hurt. But now if you lose this one, dude, now we're looking at like Holland versus Olin Jacek. You're going to see like Alex Morono versus Nico Price get moved up to the main card. It's going to be like really alarming. Paolo, why do you keep doing this, dude? We enjoy watching your social media. We think it's funny. We like your fight style. It's fun. Win or lose, we're going to get behind you because you're fucking entertaining and you're a good fighter. But like, dude, can you sign the goddamn contract? You keep pulling out of all these fights. It's insane to me that we keep seeing this happening. Let's do this. Paolo Costa Tapology. Shout out Tapology for the hit of all time. So we're going to see. Paolo Costa gets his loss against Robert Whittaker most recently. Turns around quick because you never do that. Wait a minute. Canceled bout with Hamzat Chimaev. 3 months before that, canceled bout with Ikram Aliskerov. Luke Rockhold, he get a decision win against. A year before that. Canceled bout with Luke Rockhold a month before that. Lost to Marvin Vettori a year before and missed weight. But Marvin Vettori's a savage, stepped up in weight and took the fight. Canceled with Jared Cannonier. Canceled with Robert Whittaker. Lost to Izzy. So, I mean, this dude just is absolutely ruining things. We're trying to get back behind you. We liked your performance against Whittaker. Yeah, you lost, but it only built your credibility by getting in there and fighting Whittaker and almost having him out of there in the first round. So, I'm absolutely appalled that this is what we're seeing at a Paolo Costa again. I'm actually not shocked, but this is just fucking ridiculous, dude. Like, sick of seeing it. Paolo, take the fight. Strickland will take anyone on short notice. I can't believe he hasn't signed the contract yet. I'm hoping this doesn't fall apart. Next, we're going to the UFC announcing the main event of UFC Louisville. I love this fight. Jared Cannonier versus Nasruddin Imavov. Does Cannonier deserve a title fight? Maybe after one more win here. But this is going to be a banger of a fight. It's headlining in St. Louis. This is unbelievable. Great fight. I mean, this is what we want to see. Two strikers going at it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And they both got power. They're both slick. Like two really good middleweights here going at it. Main event at Louisville. This card is stacking up nice because also on this card is Michel Pereira versus Roman Dolidze as the co-main event, 3 rounds. Michel Pereira is literally turning around and fighting quicker than I've seen anyone do it. Now, not only is he turning around and fighting quicker than anyone I've seen, we've also seen videos of him seeing dogs in Brazil from flood. So just overall good dude. And he's turning quick fights and at the same time saving slow. Dude, mad respect in my book. Now, he does have a big cancel stint here. Don't like to see that. But since he's gotten up to middleweight, destroyed Petrosky in October of 23. Then takes 5 months, fights Michal Olenjacek and destroys him. And then after that, takes 2 months and fights Ihor Potieria and destroys him. Now, He's taking a fight on a month's notice to fight Roman Dolidze on the Jared Cannonier and Nasruddin Imavov card. This is the way you rocket up the rankings. This is how you get your name noticed. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Michel Pereira. I love this fight. UFC Louisville is shaping up awesome. Now, I know this video has been long. One other thing I want to talk about before we get to a final video that I'm going to show you. UFC 306, obviously at the Sphere in Vegas. Rumored to headline. Now, we all know Grasso versus Shevchenko is going to be on it. It'll co-main to Merab versus Sean O'Malley. That's what's rumored to be the main event. That is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm telling you right now, dude, Merab shoots really stupidly. He just goes in there with his chin up, and O'Malley's the sniper that's going to catch him. O'Malley's going to win this fight by knockout, and I think he's going to do it early by catching Merab. Great main event that we're seeing there. I'll come out with a video once we have it officially announced to talk about what I think is going to happen, but, dude, Dana's cooking right now. We get this fight. We get the Dolidze versus Pereira fight. We have 301 that's looking good. We have these Saudi Arabia cards that are looking good. I mean, UFC is really putting on. We got Sandhagen versus Umar, which is a good fight. Dana's cooking. Love to see it. The other thing that Dana mentioned that I want to talk about, he wants out of the Apex. He's planning to get out of the Apex, which I think's great, but let's hear him talk before I talk deeper about it.
With Buckley, though, right, he called for his shot. He didn't get the main event. He got the co-main event, and he had an incredible performance. Crowd was behind him.
This is the post-fight press conference for St. Louis, obviously, where he's getting asked about Joaquin Buckley being in front of his home crowd.
Is doing things like that for a fighter, is that what they need to do to push themselves up in front of the fans and get more recognition?
I mean,
I'm going to say yes before Dana does, because if you heard the crowd cheer for Joaquin Buckley, it was insane. It made it feel like a pay-per-view.
it's the thing to do. If you really believe in yourself and, you know, especially in your hometown, you know, the city's great weather, clean
Going to a city has been great.
city, people are great, crowd's incredible, and he's obviously going to be a friggin' rock star here now. So people who believe in themselves and take opportunities get rewarded in way more than just here at the UFC. It takes you to a whole nother level.
Unless you're Colby or Izzy, you get rewarded shit whenever you want it.
Obviously, look, the Apex is very convenient for the people who live in Vegas, but when you get a guy and have him perform like that in front of his home crowd, this is where someone like him can make himself a bigger star, right? Taking advantage of a position like this.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're watching on ESPN, I mean, everybody, I'm sure you guys were getting texts too. It's like, they're like, Jesus Christ, it's like a pay-per-view there right now. 100%. And this is sort of when you think about how we built this business, it was taking it out of, you know, the big markets. Like, when we first got into the fight business, everybody just went to Vegas, Atlantic City, sometimes New York, sometimes L.A. That's the only place that really had fights, unless you had a local kid that would fight in some, you know. We built this business taking this thing to every city all over the world.
They've built it by taking it to every city over the world. That's damn right. They've been selling out events for so fucking long. And now they're in the Apex because we get it. COVID made it so the Apex was the only place you could go.
And, you know, as we start to get our shit together, I will call it, and start to move out and start to, you know, go to these different cities like we used to, the whole sport just goes to another level.
Do you think there'll be a time where the
Going to other cities brings the sport to another level? I could not agree with that more.
Apex shows are like maybe once a month, if that, or you'll use it more sparingly, or are you happy to have that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying this for a long time. We got to get out of the Apex and start doing more events in all these different cities, and we're starting to do it. We're getting it done this year.
Yeah, you talk
Out of the Apex this year, going to do more live events. I'm okay. Like Oscar said, I'm okay with an Apex event once a month, once every other month, because you need to get fights done, and I'd rather have a fight night at the Apex than have no fights at all. I will admit that, even if it's sometimes shit like the card that we have this weekend. But I mean, to get in front of a live crowd, what this is going to do is hold the UFC accountable to make sure that they're selling out crowds with great fights, great cards. I'm doing Dana dirty by just showing this picture of him just completely, like, messed up. But it's going to hold the UFC accountable to putting on great fights that the fans deserve. It's going to make it so we have electric crowd atmospheres. Listening to the crowd at a UFC event is part of the fun, man. It's awesome listening to the crowd go nuts. I'm so happy Dana did this. He said this year they're looking to get out of the Apex. That's what he's targeting for. Dana usually does a pretty good job of saying stuff like that and holding to it. So let's hope he's going to push through there. I know it's not the easiest thing, but I think that anyone is willing to put on a UFC event, seeing how much the sport's growing, seeing the amount of revenue it brings in. This has been a news update from me, Twan DeSimone at Sandbox MMA. We broke down a whole bunch of stuff today. If you liked it, please make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll do more of these videos when we get a lot of news coming out.